Hey, so I'm going to be just doing a little voiceover of me taking apart the carbs. I did this last week. This is off of a CBR600 F4, so there's 4 carbs, 1 per cylinder. Starting off by just getting the auxiliary hoses, stuff from like the air vent control and stuff off, so that I also the choke assembly off, just so I can take off the 2 pins that go through the length of all 4 carbs and keep it all clamped together. Once I have those apart, I can start disassembling the main jet, diaphragm assemblies, taking a look at some of the inlet components, and fuel tees, and then just the float chambers. And I'm just going to be making sure that any gaskets that need to be replaced get replaced. So you'll notice that I write things down as I go, just so I don't forget and I know which part I need to order. Once you get the first carb taken apart, the rest usually come apart fairly easily. I'll be showing a couple of the gaskets. This one right here is the fuel line tee that goes in between cylinder 1 and 2. You'll notice that there is just a little bit of a fluffiness to the O-ring that this one currently does not have, so this one would for sure need to be replaced. The previous one, you might be able to get away with it, but I'm going to be replacing them all anyways. It's good to just to have a large O-ring set with different various sizes, just hanging around for this kind of stuff. You may not always get the right ones, and you might not have the perfect size every time, but I don't know, I find that 70% of the time I'm usually covered. You can see I'm just kind of like fiddling, looking it around. There's some springs on the carburetor, just the throttle assemblies for the plates that I was thinking about replacing. And then the next step that I would take is to actually take off the main jet diaphragm, like the air diaphragm assembly. So there's 4 of them, and they're all in these black caps. You see I'll use a hammer on the screws because these are Phillips heads, and I actually like to replace Phillips heads with hex screws as much as possible, because I find that Allen keys are just much stronger and resilient to any sort of stripping. There's springs in here, all this kind of stuff, because it's meant to hold the needle valve that plugs the main jets until you actually need them, so you don't want those needles coming out, so that's why there's springs inside. But you'll see here the actual diaphragm has a gasket which is torn at the bottom, on the bottom right. So this could have been where my gas leak might have come from, just because that whole chamber, which is normally supposed to be dry, was filled up with gas. So again, writing down things that I observed just so I don't forget. And this is pretty good practice. Just you can write down the disassembly procedure, how you do things that you want to replace, things that you want to service. Notably, I mentioned that I like to replace things with hex heads, so I didn't do this the last time my carburetor was apart, but I'd like to replace these Phillips heads with Allen heads. And then this would mean that I wouldn't have to use the hammer to make sure that the Phillips head was really nicely seated in the screw, just for peace of mind. I could just stick an Allen key in there and crank it loose, but you got to make sure that you put the right size screw into the same hole. So that means measuring the diameter, the thread pitch, and the actual length. If you put something in that's too long, you'll crack the casting that it's going to be screwed into. So the next step would be to take apart, for what I'm going to be doing today, is to take apart the float chambers. So the float chambers are the only place that gas is usually supposed to be, other than the lines. So you notice there's that gasket, that black gasket that goes all the way around. It still looks like it's looking pretty good. I could probably throw this back on, but again, we're just going to be replacing the gaskets anyways. But if you ever have a flat gasket protruding from that, if it's ever level with the mating surface, you definitely want to replace that. After I check all of them and I make sure they're clean, I just put one back on and just want to make sure that I limit the amount of dust and everything, that contaminants that go inside these carbs. I'll still be cleaning them later though. I did have these carbs taken apart the winter over 2019 to 2020, just to put in some new jets and such. And actually that's when I observed, so on the screen here we have a fuel screen. This goes into each, it's supposed to go into each of the carbs, but I actually only have 2 on the entire set, which I found when I took these apart last year. You don't necessarily need them, but you should have them, especially if you have a fuel injected car. You definitely don't want to be putting unscreened fuel, but most of what they do is protect you from the contaminants that you yourself put in during the assembly process, right? We're not perfect. This isn't a lab where everything's completely clean, so it's just an extra precaution, because otherwise the fuel filter further up, closer to the tank, usually can take care of all that. Notice here, this is where that ripped gasket was for the main jet diaphragm that I showed you, and that you can see that there's a little bit of gunk there at the top that I'll point to with the screwdriver. And this is super common for when there's leaks, either oil leaks on the engine, fuel leaks, whatever. It attracts dust and dirt, and so that's a pretty common way to tell if you actually have a leak on a car. Another reason to keep an engine clean is that you can notice little bits of buildup like that. That one wasn't so obvious, but sometimes they are. So keeping a clean engine will help diagnose things later. But that's it for today. I'll make a new video when I do the reassembly and install.